a couple of wee 18th century style boxes to hold flyers with a little bit of how I do things on projects like this. Welcome back to the shop and the channel and to this. I'm doing a small project. I've mentioned on this channel several times that my wife and I do living history, specifically the last Jacobite rebellion in Scotland, 1745-46, following Bonnie Prince Charlie, the pretender to the throne, as they say. This is a picture of me in my full outfit, or garb as we call it in the living history and reenactment community. Not a costume, garb, it's garb. And this is a flyer that we use to hand out to do recruiting and give him some basic information. I'm building some boxes so we can set these on a table and people can pick them up as they want. Now the boxes are going to be made like this. You see this here. This is a pipe box I made on the channel a while ago. It's going to be smaller without a drawer. And here's a prototype of the front. It's lower than it's supposed to be. It'll be taller. And Prince Charles's head and the label is going to be coming up the top like that. So how am I going to do that? Well, I did this on my CNC using V-carve. And I'm going to do the front on the CNC doing V-carve. But it's going to be two colors. The box is going to be probably barn red, and the lettering is going to be white. And to do that successfully, I'm going to mask off the wood after it's painted barn red, and then cut the lettering, and then paint inside the masking to get the white on there, and then peel the mask off. It's the same way I did a small sign from my shop, link in the description, with my KR Woodworks KRW logo. And I'm going to be using Frisk film or Frisket film. This is the original Frisket film. It's a thin, low-tack plastic film that you put on your workpiece, and then you can either razor something out or whatever, and then paint, and it protects the workpiece from getting paint outside of that area. And this is my test piece what I'm going to use. This already has some cutouts on it from practicing. To simulate the paint, I put 3 layers of clear shellac on top of here. So let's see, I got to get this peeled off. Okay, like that. And I take the Frisk film and stick it down onto my wood. Give it a good rub. Now, what you can't see it in camera, I don't think, but get a shine. What happens now is I'll cut out the lettering on here on the CNC, and I'm spinning at 26,000 RPM, so it's going to basically it won't drag the plastic up out of the way. And then I'll just do a quick and dirty spray paint on top of that. When that dries, I'll pull it off. There probably will be some run out underneath it because I'm not doing a really the final job. I'll be more careful with the final job. But I've cut out all my parts, first of all, here. These are all my parts. This is the fronts, and the lettering is going to be cut out on the fronts. But like I said, I have to paint those first before I put down the lettering. And then after that's, I cut the lettering out, then I can paint the lettering and then pull the Frisk off. So let's walk this over to the CNC machine and do some cutting. I actually went over this with a laminate roller just to get it a little stuck down a little better. And I don't know if you can see it in camera. There's a little X mark there. That's to index the cutter to the workpiece. No matter what you build using a CNC, the tool has to start somewhere, and you've got to tell that tool where to start to do the cutting you want. The software I'm using is Vectrix V-carve. And the tool path I'm using is the V-carve tool path, which is for cutting V-carving, things with V's. The cutter is a 90-degree cutter. I'll bring the camera down in a second. The cutter here is a 90-degree cutter. So the blade is 90 degrees to a point. And that gives you that V-shaped lettering, deep lettering. So first thing I need to do, oh, I'm also using G-Sender as the driver for the CNC. It takes the V-carve software, translates that G code, and then the G code drives the cutting the computer here. It's down here for the machine itself, and that drives the stepper motors. So what I have, I've got to get this set up so it works. Turn it on. Okay. I've got a little game controller that I can use to control my cutter. Take the glasses off because, let me bring the camera down so you can see what's going on here. This is the bit I'm using. It's a 90-degree V-cutter for doing lettering and things like that. And what I need to do is line it up with the X that I have on the piece of wood. And I'll start by using the game controller to get it to where it is X and Y. And you do that manually. Okay, that's lined up on this line here. And now I do the other one by turning the bit so I can get the pointy bit in the right place. And I get the glasses off. Oops, it moved. Get it right back. Oh. Okay, there we go. Now I want to move it this way. And that's lined up with this line. X and Y is now lined up. And the first thing you got to do when you're doing this is you want to zero the X and Y. Otherwise, when you turn the machine on, it's going to go to whatever the X and Y coordinates is before it drops down to do the Z part. Now, to align the Z, this is the fun part. I'm going to bring the tool up, and we're going to use a probe. This is a electrical probe. I had to measure this to get the exact depth of this, or distance from the workpiece to the top of this, and it's 760 thousandths of an inch. And I put that into my probe section on the software here. Now, the first thing I do is put this under the bit, like that, and connect the ground wire to the bit itself. So that will complete the circuit when the bit touches the thing. So now I go to the probe, and I touch probe. So this dialog box comes up, and I just lift up the probe itself to connect it to the bit, like that. And you'll note that the line I just showed you on the probe screen turns blue. So now it's ready to test to use the probe. So what I'll do is I press that button, and this Z-axis motor will bring the bit down to touch the probe twice. Now the cutter is indexed X, Y, and Z. The software knows exactly how far it is from where it is now to the top of the workpiece. We take the probe out of the way. And at this point, it's just a matter of pushing a button and running the job. So I left the dust collector boot off so you could see the actual tool cutting the letters. Now, there's a gazillion videos on YouTube of this happening. I just thought I'd add to the mess. So this now is ready to do the test paint on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to go grab a can of white spray paint and give it a couple of shots. Give it a shot of paint real quick. Let it dry. And then we'll come back and remove the frisk film and see what we've got. Remember, this is test only. Let me show you. Let me climb up here and show you. The first sign I ever made was this. And I made it using the exact same technique. This is actually, what is this? This is actually MDF. But I put frisk over it. I painted it, put frisk over it, cut the letters out, and then painted the letters and pulled the frisk off. I didn't have to touch up anything on this. This was a fun little project. So let's do the painting thing now. Okay, I pulled the film off. It's painted. I pulled the film off before I had the sound on the camera. But so here's the end result. Remember, this is a test. Picture the background being barn red and the letters being white. And that's what the front of the boxes are going to look like. Barn red and white. So that is successful. I know where I need to go with this to make it all work. So let's get on with milling out the parts as needed and painting and machining and putting these two boxes together. Now that we got the process kind of nailed down, I've made a template. You see that out of cardstock. I draw this in AutoCAD, and to make a template, I just print it out in cardstock. So what I need to do is cut this out. It's got all three parts that I need on the template as well. So this piece right here is the front. This is the side, and of course that's the back. So I have templates for all, but the first thing I want to do is I want to do the fronts. So I'm going to cut out the template for the front. I know I could machine this out on the CNC machine, but you know what the heck. I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, that's it. Now this is going to get cut out on the bandsaw. So I'm going to bring it up here. And then I'll clean it up on the oscillating sander. All right, so I've got the cutouts drawn on here. I've chosen a color. This is the red. It's a little brighter on when I got a sample I did around here somewhere. What did I do with my sample? Oh well, I did a sample piece of wood and daubed some paint on it just to get the color, to see what it was going to look like. And it's a little brighter. It's even a little brighter than this, but that's okay. I want these to be kind of loud so that when people look at the bench and they see them, they'll see these two bright boxes and they'll have the flyers in them. So let me get these cut out. And then these are going to get cut out. Then they're going to get painted in the red. Then they get frisked film, and then they're going to cut out the join us, and then I'll paint the join us. So let's get that process underway. Cut them out. Backs, fronts, sides. Haven't got the bottom done yet. Now I could have easily cut these out on the CNC, but these are supposed to be 18th century pieces. Late 18th century, mid 18th century pieces. So I did a lot of handwork to give it that handmade look. It doesn't pay to look machine made when it's supposed to be in the 18th century. So the next step, of course, is to paint. And I'm going to paint the fronts first. And I've sanded all the surfaces that are going to be painted. So paint the fronts, frisket film, and then I'll go back to the CNC and cut all the lettering because I don't know how to carve. I've never done any carving before. So we'll do it on the CNC. But anyhow, let's get a coat of paint on here and we'll take it from there. Let's lay down some paint. And I'm only going to do the front surface. And once I get this together, I'm going to do the inside too. Inside parts. And then I'll glue it and screw it all together. And then we'll paint the whole thing. I got the wood now to do the bottom, which I haven't cut out yet. So the color we've chosen is my red hand. It's kind of a barn red with a little bit of a little subdued barn red color. And for those who don't know, most of you probably already do, you can get these little sample cans at the home centers, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. Instead of buying a whole quart or a gallon, pint or gallon, whatever, of a quart or a gallon of paint, you buy these little things. And now you've got red paint for other projects. Now this is going to be painted. Then it's going to have to sit overnight before we can put the frisks down. Painting is like watching paint dry. Okay, whatever. So I may do 2 coats, I'm not sure yet. This is, by the way, the Bear All-in-One paint, which is really convenient. I've used it on interior house projects before and a couple of small projects before, and I find it working very, not a sponsor, I'm not advertising it, but I just like the paint. I got it on there. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. Okay, put that aside. And a little more in the middle here. I also like foam brushes. As you can tell, I like the foam brushes. Not for everything, but for a lot of things, you know, small projects and some specific types of projects, I like the foam brushes. I do like the foam brushes when doing, specifically while doing varnish finishes, not shellac because it dries too quickly, but varnish finishes, clear finishes, things like that. It tends to spread those finishes. Oops, stuff. A little nicer than a bristle brush. Okay, I think I got it there. Yep. So these are going to sit overnight. We'll come back and I will show. I'll cut them in the machine. I'll show a little bit of one of them, but you've seen me cut stuff in the machine before. And then we'll set it up so I can paint the insides of these, which we'll do off camera, and then start fastening it together and then sending them out the door. Milled, cut out. I've got some white acrylic paint. I'm going to paint the letters in now very carefully. I think I can get away with one coat, but we'll see. Oh, wait a minute, has this not been opened yet? Yeah, it has. Okay, cool. Didn't see. Okay. All right, dab of acrylic green paint. White paint. Get this out of the way, and now we'll very carefully paint the letters. Okay, so they're painted. Now we need to let the paint dry, and then we can peel the mask off and see if we have a winner, a loser, or do I need to do these again? So let's let this dry, and we'll come back and peel the mask. It's time. So let's see if I have a winner or a loser here. Let's peel the frisk off. So far, so good. A couple of places where I have to peel it with my fingies. Got one touch-up space I got to do. There you go. There's one front. Now we do the other front. Another one. Done. Okay. So I see I've got one little touch-up I need to do. That's not a big problem. That's not a big deal. But then again, I might leave it in there because, of course, this is old stuff and it's supposed to be old stuff. It's supposed to be. So right now, we're going to end the video here. I want this paint to cure for a little bit longer before I start working on it. I have to do some other painting and then we'll do some assembly. We'll assemble it all together, make the bottoms, and assemble it all together in the next video. So that's it for now. Don't know when the next one will come out, but it'll come out when it comes out. So until next time, make great things out of wood.